bury oil next to drinking water sites, would pollute rivers over and over again.
Man, I had too much hair. 20 years ago, David and Charles Koch were the richest guys you've never heard of. They got their money the old-fashioned way. They stole it from the Indians, like this. The Osage Indians, poorer than dirt, let the Kochs truck away oil from their Oklahoma reservation. Koch would pay for 90 barrels of oil, but Charles told their truckers to take 100. One of Koch's buddies told us that when he asked Charles why the billionaire would skim $3 a week from some poor Indian family, Koch said, "I want my fair share, and that's all of it." $3 a week per Indian added up to over $1 billion for the Kochs. The FBI and federal prosecutors wrote up a criminal indictment that could put Charles behind bars for theft and racketeering. But the Kochs got their buddy, Kansas Senator Bob Dole, to get the prosecutor replaced with a Koch crony, and the criminal indictment went poof. The Kochs then gave the senator $100,000, which federal authorities made him give back. In 1995, Koch Oil was charged with 312 criminal counts of dumping 3 million gallons of oil sludge into rivers in 6 states. Rather than comply with the law, they decided to buy control of the entire U.S. Congress to change the law. How? The answer came from an insider who called me to rat on Charles and David, their little brother Billy. Little Koch told me that his brothers...
My brother, unfortunately, abused himself above the law.
Which brother? You have 3.
Charles. Back to his libertarian philosophy, where he believes that laws are immoral. He views himself as being above it, and will go out and do whatever he wants, steal oil, pollute the environment, etc. And then he gets caught. What he then does, or someone's coming after him, and then he goes and buys all the politicians he can to counter that influence, try to mitigate the cost of the crime. And they've been very effective at it. Very effective. I know they've given a couple $1 million to Dole.
Right.
And let's say they've given $5 million to Triad.
Triad? Holy mama! Triad was the secret conduit of those millions to a front called Coalition for Our Children's Future. The children ran ads linking Democrats to child molesters, wife beaters, and they accused one Democrat of being Jewish. Boy, the smear worked, and the Koch Republicans took control of the 105th Congress. If Koch Industries had secretly funded Triad, then the brothers had committed a go-to-jail crime. At the time, it was illegal for corporations to grease political campaigns. Doesn't matter. In the case of Citizens United, the Supreme Court decriminalized campaign contributions by corporations. Billy Koch also told me that his brothers had put up over $75 million to set up a series of think tanks and front groups, including Citizens for a Sound Economy, which the Kochs morphed into Freedom Works, which drafted the demands of a group of cross-dressers called the Tea Party. Their first target, eliminate the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, the pollution police, giving the Kochs such a hard time. The Kochs also created the Heritage Foundation, promoting the mass purge of voter rolls. And the Heritage Foundation's latest crusade? Kansas Interstate Crosscheck. I get bad opinion on the case. Connect Mr. Crosscheck Kobach.
Okay, pay attention.
And the brothers Koch.
Koch brothers. They've hired Whitney Bull to run their money funneling outfits. Donors Capital Fund, State Policy Network, the Heritage Foundation, over $1 million of American NRA, Jay Delancey, the Voter Integrity Project.
Jim Crow
so has
from
Josh
the
Olson. Or $1,000 in legal fees.
So that Carolina schmuck was Kobach's partner.
Through the voting, anti-immigration trust. Over $1 million to Numbers USA. 100,000 Farmers Branch, Texas. Chris Kobach. Got that?
So the Kochs shoved a pile of cash to Donors Trust, which gave a cool million to Numbers USA, which dropped 100 grand on Farmers Branch. And that's the mystery money that went to Kobach. So Kobach's just another spider in the Koch web, taking their cash, and now he's bleaching the voter rolls for the Kochs. But why? Why do guys who have $100 billion need to buy the White House? I had no idea until Bad Penny received a message from the Chief of Criminal Intelligence of the Arctic Republic. The chief demanded I travel immediately to Koktovik, wherever the hell that is. I hit Google Earth. Koktovik's an island just above the Arctic Circle. There's no way I'm running up to the Arctic to chat with some crazy Eskimo.
We are not a conquered people. We're not defeated. What gives you the right to trespass, you motherfuckers?
Yeah, but
goddamn white trash.
yeah. Okay. So let me
This
ask you a
is
question.
E
Etok,
Welcome to Koktovik.
the legendary whale hunter, former professor at the University of California at Berkeley, and leader of the Inuit Speakers of Alaska's Arctic. And one badass Eskimo.
No, this is the healthiest stock in the fucking world.
This?
This is the healthiest whaling stock in the world. So this is not commercial. This is cultural.
This is culture. This is a culture?
Yeah,
Just chopping up whales?
yeah.
You know, well, okay, so let me ask you a question. Seriously, you've been claiming this, Etok, as native land.
Yeah.
Why should this be your land?
It was our land since time immemorial. We're the last of the Pleistocene people. We are the same people for 28,000 fucking years. And then you want to come here and destroy it?
Okay.
In case you can't translate his Inuit phrases,
I don't give a fuck what the governor here.
Koch Industries and British Petroleum need the oil under this very whale.
This is destruction in progress. And you are the witness to that destruction.
Okay.
What are you doing about it?
Now,
As a reporter for British TV, he wants me to send a message to my queen. He tells me, if you start drilling, that is the end of us.
It's cheaper to cheat than it is to practice the law.
There's no supermarket here. All this was gathered at the end of a harpoon.
That thing will keep you going all day.
I made 5 gallons.
Kill them up like this.
I'm going for it. I'm happening. Ladies and gentlemen.
It's better than it looks.
Okay. He brought me here to swallow Mickey up, whale meat and fermented blood. I've seen this before. What happens when the poor and powerless get in the way of an oil drill. I saw it in the Amazon. The mass poisoning. I saw it in the Caspian Sea, Cancer Alley. And right here in Alaska, when I investigated the smash up of the Exxon Valdez. Here's some of Exxon's sludge I picked up after the spill. 20 years after the spill. There's no such thing as a victimless billionaire. And there's no way to control an oil spill among these icebergs. So how would the Kochs make money from such an environmentally obscene venture? The scent of oil and money led me here to Prudhoe Bay, the starting point of this rusty old piece of pipe, the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. The Kochs have bought into this pipeline, but the pipeline is about to shut down for lack of oil. So why in the world would the smartest white businessmen in America buy into an oil pipeline with no oil in it? Answer, they could fill it up with Arctic oil that could also supply their stranded refinery in Fairbanks, Alaska. But this would require the Kochs to get a president of the United States nuts enough to drill under Etox whales. Hell, the Kochs can do that. They've already announced they're going to dump $750 million into the 2016 election. For $750 million, they expect a second pipe thrown into the deal.
Allow and approve the Keystone Pipeline.
I want the Keystone Pipeline.
You should love the Keystone Pipeline.
Love the Keystone Pipeline. The Keystone XL pipeline will bring the world's filthiest oil, tar sands from Canada, all the way across the belly of the United States, over our water resources, down to Texas. Oil to Texas? Why in the world would you have to ship oil to Texas? The answer is here in Corpus Christi, home of the Koch brothers' giant refinery. But the Kochs have a problem. They can't use Texas oil. It's not filthy enough. It's not dirty enough for their refinery. They have to use super heavy crude, gunk, like you get from the tar sands. So for years, the Kochs had to import their extra filthy crude from Caracas, and the price of that heavy oil was set by this man, the Frank Sinatra of Venezuela.
There you go.
Cuesta abajo en mi rodada.
Years ago, President Hugo Chavez told me,
Tú sabes que Venezuela tiene la reserva de petróleo.
Venezuela, with the world's biggest reserve of oil, would really stick it to U.S. customers like the Kochs. Do the math. Canada charges $15 a barrel less than Venezuela. If the Kochs can get their Canadian sludge down to their Texas refinery, they will earn $1 billion each. So who is the political plumber who will put in the fix for the Kochs pipe?
Look, the oil is coming from up here. It connects, the two pipelines connect here in Alberta. What we're missing is the opportunity to bring it to the even larger petrochemical refineries that are in Texas.
Karl Rove, Chief of Staff to the President of the United States. He was known as Bush's brain, but Bush called him Turd Blossom.
Absolutely, and one other geopolitical point. This would reduce our reliance upon the heavy crude, similar that comes out of Canada, that comes out of Venezuela. It would allow us to further crater our opponents in Venezuela, the despotic regime there that is anti-American and is fueling...
Turd Blossom has been in the computer targeting game since his 20s as a voter database nerd working for the Creep.
Well, I'm not a crook. It's part of a revolution in campaign financing. Massive computerized appeals based on direct mail lists. The plan is to keep such complex, expensive campaign technological apparatus out of sight and out of the headlines as much as possible.
And here's how Rove uses his computers. I know. I've been investigating Rove since 2004 when that little birdie, love that little guy, dropped off some highly confidential emails from Karl Rove's research chief to George W. Bush's campaign chiefs titled Caging. The lists were names of voters living in homeless shelters and minority soldiers at the Naval Air Station in Florida. The homeless weren't home, and Bad Penny discovered the sailors were overseas. So I took the thousands of names to a law school dean who explained caging to me.
Caging is a system by which you can target cohorts of voters and get them excluded from the lists. And it's illegal in this country. And it's illegal particularly it's illegal under a number of statutes, but if you target black or minority voters, it's illegal under the Voting Rights Act of 1965 specifically. It's a felony, and it's punished by high fines, but also imprisonment. The way that the Republican Party has done this in the past